Baruchot habaot, ladies. Baruchot hanimtzaot. Thank you so much for the ladies who are tuning in, whether you're tuning in to allsarah.com or to Torah Anytime. It's always such a privilege and a pleasure to know that you're devoting yourself to Kadosh Baruch Hu's Torah, to elevating yourself, to bringing Kedusha v'Tara into your home. Baruch Hashem, I just came back from Eretz Yisrael, and I had you all in mind in my tefillot, wherever I was, that HaKadosh Baruch Hu should continue to grace you with His kindness, with His chesed v'rachamim, and that Be'ezrat Hashem, all of us who are in the Golah, should be worthy one day to pick ourselves up and go back to Eretz Yisrael even before the Mashiach comes. So that when He comes, we're already there, Be'ezrat Hashem. So you should know that I had you all in mind for good things, for especially now, coming up, Adar, Rosh Chodesh Adar is coming up, the month of joy and miracles. We should all be zeicha to tremendous nisim v'nafochu, anything in our life that needs revamping or total opposite, like a 180-degree turnaround, v'nafochu, should happen Be'ezrat Hashem. First and foremost, in the zchut of your commitment to Torah, your commitment to mitzvot, your devotion to aliyat haneshama, to elevating your neshama more and more, such an important thing for women to do in this generation. So with that thought in mind, we'll begin, because we have a lot of work to do, and because there's so much information that I have to give over to you before the great day of Ta'anit Esther. We're going to divide this class into 2 lectures. Part 1 will be today, Part 2, Be'ezrat Hashem, next week, so it's important that you tune in. We are now studying Parshat Terumah. And these next few parshiot anyway in the Torah are very difficult ones to study and even to teach, because you're pretty much reading the blueprint of how Am Yisrael built the Mishkan, the holy Mishkan, the tabernacle. What types of materials they used, what were the dimensions, how much money they collected for this holy project. It's very hard to take someone else's plans that he's building in his house and then open up those plans and give lessons on it. But if there is a Parashat Terumah in the Torah HaKadosha, there must be a practical lesson contained in it for all of us. So we'll begin. The parasha starts with the words, Vayedaber Hashem el Moshe lemor. And God spoke to Moshe alav shalom, saying, Daber el bnei Israel, veikhu li terumah. Speak to the Jewish people and tell them to take a terumah, a donation, for me. In order to build a Mishkan, you need money. According to Rabbeinu Bachya alav shalom, the Mishkan was made up of 15 different components: zahav, gold, kesef, silver, nechoshet, copper, tchelet, argaman, tolaot shani, shesh, izim, orot elim, orot damim, orot chashim, aseh shitim, shemen lameor, besamim for the shemen, lamishcha, avnei shoham, and avnei miluim. All those you can look up yourselves in the parasha to see what the actual translations are. Otherwise, we'll be here all night long. 15 items is costly. When we build a shul, it costs money. So HaKadosh Baruch Hu tells Moshe Rabbeinu, Vayikhu li terumah. Go collect terumah, a donation for me. Me'et kol ish asher yidvenu libo. Collect from any person who has a generous heart. Tikhu et terumati. Take my terumah, my donation. Now, upon seeing this pasuk, you immediately see some form of inconsistency, because in the beginning, the donation is called a terumah, but in the end, it's called terumati, my donation, not a donation. Now, to most readers, the difference between those words doesn't bother them. Terumah, terumati, probably didn't bother you either. You don't lose sleep over such an observation. But when you're trying to analyze the psukim, all the chidushim are in the nuances of every word. So you have to be willing to be technical for a minute and ask, well, what is the difference between terumah and terumati? Once you know the difference, that's when the chidush emerges. So the holy Ohev Yisrael, the Apter Rav Avram Yehoshua Heschel Alav Shalom, writes concerning this pasuk of Vaikhuli Terumah. And he says the following. I'm going to read you his words and I'm going to translate, because there's nothing like reading the original. Yesh lomar al derech remez dinei ktiv ki beya Hashem tzur olamim ki b'shnei otiyot elu nivre'u hashnei ha'olamot olam hazeh ve'olam haba. What does this mean? The Ohev Yisrael tells us that there are two worlds. There is Olam Hazeh, this world, and there is Olam Haba. As human beings, we live in Olam Hazeh. Nobody has to provide you with proof that there's an Olam Hazeh, that's for sure. But Olam Haba isn't spoken about so much, even though we know that it exists. Chachamim tell us in the Mishnah, Kol Yisrael yesh lahem chelek le'olam haba. So we know that it exists. As a matter of fact, Olam Haba is the primary world, while Olam Hazeh is just a tool, a vestibule, just as it says in Pirkei Avot, Ha'olam Hazeh domeh lepruzdor lifnei chayei ha'olam haba. This world is just a narrow hallway to reach the ultimate event, which is in Olam Haba. So the pasuk in Yeshaya Hanavi says that God created Olam Hazeh and Olam Haba using two Hebrew letters, Ki beya Hashem tzur olamim, with the Yud and the Hey of Hashem's name, tzur olamim. Hashem created two worlds. With the letter Yud, HaKadosh Baruch Hu created Olam Haba. And with the letter Hey, He created Olam Hazeh. What does it mean that with a letter, God created a world? How do you create a world from a letter? So I'm going to explain it to you on a very simple level. You take a capsule, like a pill. If I were to tell you that a pill, the capsule, has the ability to destroy half of the civilized world, you'd say, impossible, that little thing. What is it? Poison? Anthrax? Chaz v'shalom? No. The capsule is a regular vitamin. It's nothing poisonous. But if it's developed properly, it could destroy at least half of the civilized world. How? The pill is like any matter. It's being held together by atoms. We're going back to a 12th grade science now. We learned about the atom, the mighty atom, protons, neutrons, electrons. I forgot most of that stuff. We learned that back in the days. And we learned that the protons are spinning one way, the electrons are spinning the other way, making hakafot. That means that every single piece of matter contains in it energy. And that energy is incredible. And if you could just figure out a way to release whatever energy is contained, even in the smallest matter, then what you've now created is an atomic bomb, and you could blow up Hiroshima and the rest of the world. You don't need a huge piece of matter to do that. A small piece of matter could destroy half the world if you could just figure out how to remove enough of those atoms to release that energy. That means that there's energy that's contained inside, and it's very powerful. That's the parable, that's the mashal. Similarly, every letter in the Hebrew alphabet contains energy. It's not just a letter we use to communicate. It's not just a letter that we use to write a composition or to speak dibur. The letter Hey is not a letter H. The letter H is lifeless. There's no energy in the letter H. There are no powers contained in the letter H. But if you would take the letter Hey, and you would know spiritually how to open it up and develop it and release the energy that's contained in the letter Hey, you could create a world with the letter Hey. What the atom bomb destroys because it contains that negative energy, the otiyot, the Hebrew letters on the other hand, can build with their positive energy. So HaKadosh Baruch Hu obviously has the reactor. He knows how to take the letter Hey and refine it. From the letter Hey, he's able to release all its kohot, all its powers, and before you know it, you have Olam Hazeh, you have this world. The letter Yud, although it's smaller than the letter Hey in size, has a much more potent energy that comes out of it, according to the Mekubalim. From the letter Yud, Olam Haba was created. That's how you know the power that's contained in the letter Yud. Now, does any human being know how to do this? Well, the Gemara actually says that there was a human being named Betzalel. What does the Gemara tell us about him? יודע היה בצלאל לצרף בהם אותיות שבו נבראו שמיים וארץ. It's an incredible thing. Betzalel knew how to extract energy from the letters of the Aleph Bet. Hence his name, Betzalel. Betzel El. He is in the image of God, so to speak. He's has that godly, the ruchaniyut that's needed, in the sense that he knows, like Hashem, how to extract the energy from the letters. So the Navi says, Ki beya Hashem tzu olamim. The letter Yud, from the Yud Hey of Hashem's name, was used to create Olam Haba, and the letter Hey was used to create Olam Hazeh. So we continue now with the words of the Aptarav, his Chidush. V'yadua, it's well known, de'ikar Terumah hu ma shemefarshim mikol davar chelek hayafe v'hameshubach. When a person gives a donation, the main donation that he gives has to be the prime, the most chashuv. To whom? To the donor, to the one who's giving. And that was the whole argument, by the way, between Cain and Heaven. Cain brought the leftovers and he put that on the Mizbeach. But Heaven, he brought the choicest of sacrifices, the best of the best. So the Aptarav says, when a person brings a donation to Hashem, or he brings up some kind of sacrifice, he has to give what's most important to him. When a person wants to dedicate something for Hashem, he has to choose and he has to select. What is most beautiful and praiseworthy in the donor's eyes and his eyes. In other words, whatever is most dear to you. Therefore, says the Aptarav, Al ken etzel anashim tzadikim. When it concerns the righteous people, money doesn't mean anything to them. A tzaddik doesn't care about money. He's not attracted to money. What do we learn in Kohelet? Havel havalim amar Kohelet. Havel havalim. Hakol havel. Money isn't worth anything. Material isn't worth anything. If you ever visited a tzaddik, you see that money doesn't matter much to them. The tzaddikim. They live very modestly. They live without luxuries. They live very modestly, the tzaddikim. They live without all these crazy luxuries. They're not drawn to kesef v'zahav, to silver and to gold. The tzaddikim are only interested in ruchaniyut. So if a tzaddik wants to make a donation, giving money is kind of cheap in his eyes. It's not considered the best. To him, money is a waste. For a tzaddik to give money isn't considered a major sacrifice. So what does a tzaddik have to give when it comes to a donation? He has to give the item that's most dear to him. And what's the item that's most dear to a tzaddik? Olam haba. For a tzaddik, a donation has to be a spiritual donation. Now I'm not sure how you collect the spiritual donation, but I'm sure this too is going to be addressed by the end of the shiur, Be'ezrat Hashem. So let's move on with the Apter Rav's Chidush. He writes, Shekol eskei olam hazeh einam nechshavim be'enehem leme'uma. All the pleasures of this world don't have any value to the tzaddik. Hamufchar v'tov be'einav shel tzaddik, what's considered the choicest and good in the eyes of a tzaddik, is rak avodat Hashem, ruchaniyut, olamot, acquiring spirituality, acquiring spiritual worlds. And listen to these words, ladies. Ma she'en ken etzel hamon am. You don't find this attitude among the regular people out there. Hameshukaim beta'avot olam hazeh. A lot of people are pretty much occupied and steeped in the pleasures of this world, in the gashmiut, in the materialism of this world. They run after it, they lie for it, they'll kill people for it. Ve'yakar ba'enehem, and what's important to most people is chemdat hamamon ve'kesef ve'zahav. It's the love of money, of gold, of silver. If you ask some people what the most important thing in the world to them, they'll tell you that it's their family. They don't mean their family. When they say their family, they mean money. Their decisions are based on money. The outcome of their life is going to be based on money. The future will be based on money, but they can't say money because they're embarrassed to say, listen, what's important to me right now and right here is my money. So they blame it on the family. Oh no, it's the family. I have to consider the family. But you give them something to drink, nichnas yain yatsa sod. They'll reveal to you it's not their families that's most important to them. Who cares about my family? He cares about, the Apter Rav says, kesef vezahav bli gvul v'shi'ur. Unlimited amount of money is what people worry about all day long. They're worried about the money. Am I going to be able to keep my money? All day long they dream about money. What am I going to do about the money? How am I going to save the money? The expenses. It's all about money. Therefore, a person who everything to him is pretty much about the money, especially when he tells you, oh no, it's not the money. For him, when he makes a donation, he gives what's most chashuv to him. And that's the money. Whereas a tzaddik, when he gives money, he considers it a cheap donation because money doesn't mean anything to him. But to the man who's lustful and greedy and money means everything, when he parts from the dollar, he's giving what he considers the most chashuv, the most important. So the Apter Rav says, it says in the pasuk, Daber el bnei Yisrael, Hashem tells Moshe Rabbeinu to speak to the Jewish people, Vayikhu li terumah. Take from me a donation. Now we already learned that the letter Hey represents Olam Hazeh. So it represents the people who are basically connected to this world, to the Gashmi world. For certain people, Vayikhu li terumah means, according to the Aptarav, the word Terumah to these people is, if you take the word Terumah and you divide it, it's Tarom Hey. Lift up the hay, so to speak, which means the donation for these people, as far as they're concerned, has to come from the letter Hey, from Olam Hazeh, because that's what's most important to them. Tarom Hey. However, you have another Jew that personifies the rest of the pasuk. Me'et kol ish asher yidvenu libo. You have people that have a generosity of heart. That's referring to the tzaddikim, according to the Aptarav. To them, Olam Hazeh has very little value. So for them, it says at the end of the pasuk, Tikhu et Terumati. The word Terumati ends with a yud. It's Terumat Yud. Lift up the yud. That's very significant. The donation of the righteous for them has to come from the spiritual realm. Says the Aptarav. V'zeh shekatuv terumah terom hey. That's what's implied by the word terumah, which is tarom hey. Hainu, he says in other words, she'al yidei zeh nitormem begashmiut. That as a result of the donation that he gives, the person hopes to rise even more in the levels of materialism. Aval, but the words me'et kol ish asher yidvenu libo, from every person you should take a terumah who's generous of heart, that's referring to the tzaddik. And he writes, Mishu mitnadev lev tahor, a person who offers a donation with a pure heart. Lo yifne atzmo le'inyanei olam hazeh. He doesn't care about this material world. Hainu tumat yud, tumati. For him, the most important decision is spiritual. This is the beautiful chidush of the Ohev Yisrael, who says that there are two different kinds of donations, terumah and terumati. Terumah is not terumati, and terumati is not terumah. And by the way, it doesn't mean that you shouldn't give tzedakah from now on, because I'm going to give a spiritual donation. You don't even know what that is. Keep giving tzedakah. It's two different classes of people, is what I'm trying to tell you. One is a physical donation, and that's it. And that's what he's talking about. And one is a spiritual donation. Unfortunately, the Aptarav does not explain to us what the spiritual donation is, so we're kind of left hanging. Because when I collect money for Ohel Sarah, how could I collect a spiritual donation? And by the way, we are collecting now. We have a campaign, a Purim campaign. You know that I always collect 3 times a year. Rosh Hashanah, Purim, and Pesach. Please, you know what to do. Log on to ohelsarah.com and please give your Purim donation for the Purim baskets and also for the meal. Remember last year we collected money for a meal for those who don't have the means to put together a meal. We collect. Log on to www.ohelsarah.com and please designate when you donate, bevakasha, especially after the shiur. When you donate, please designate that it is for the Purim Seudah campaign, and in general to help people throughout their Purim. And I really, really do appreciate that. All of your Terumot are going to be very, very helpful, especially if when you donate, it's coming from a spiritual place and not just, let me just get the money. No, give because you want to give, and we're going to talk about that soon. Thank you so much. Or you can call our offices, 718 1-800-500-4550, and we'll gladly take your information over the phone. So when I collect for old Sarah, how do I collect a spiritual donation? How do you deposit a spiritual donation in the bank? What does it mean? Does it mean learning Torah for 2 hours like we do here every week? Does it mean giving a nice bracha? What is it? Is it daily immersion in a mikvah? What is a spiritual donation? Ladies, today you're going to learn an incredible chidush from the Ben Ish Chai alav shalom, who writes that every time you do a mitzvah, you create a malach, an angel. It's actually a Mishnah in Pirkei Avot. Kol ha'oseh mitzvah achat, koneh lo praklit achat. Every time you do a mitzvah, you create a praklit. A praklit is a defender, a defending angel, a guardian angel, so to speak. The Ben Ish Chai says that angel that you create has 2 parts. He has a physical part, which I guess consists of his physical being, his wings, or other physical features. But the angel has another component, and that's the spiritual part. That's the neshama of the angel. Yeah, believe it or not. Just like a human being, a human body has a guf, the body itself, and a neshama, and the soul. Malachim are the same, the angels are the same. They have a body and they need a neshama, they need a soul. The guf and the neshama of the malach is actually created from 2 parts of a mitzvah that you do. When a person does a mitzvah, there are always 2 parts to that mitzvah. There's the actual physical execution of the mitzvah, like when you're going to now pick up the phone and call our offices and donate to the Purim campaign, like when you shake the lulav on Sukkot, like when the ladies light nerot on Shabbat, like when a man puts on physically tefillin, like when a woman bakes chalot with her hands and not just with the machine. Doing a mitzvah involves an action, which is the physical part of the mitzvah. And that physical act is what creates the physical part of that angel, of the malach. However, an angel that only has a body isn't considered alive. Just like a human being who has a body without a soul is lifeless, a person needs to create a neshama for the malach so the malach can come to life. An angel without a soul is not worth anything. So how do you infuse a neshama into that malach that you just created with the physical action of the mitzvah you did? Ladies, it depends on your intent. It depends on your kavanah. When a person has kavanah, where does that kavanah come from? It comes from the inside. The mitzvah is done on the outside, but the kavanah takes place inside of me, inside my head. I'm thinking, I want to give, so I'm going to give, and then I physically give. And what resides in the mind? According to most chachamim, the neshama is centered here in the moach. So when a person does a mitzvah with the proper kavanah, which comes from the inside, which is the neshama in the mind, that infuses in the lifeless malach a neshama, and that completes him. So Rav Zusha, alav shalom, asks, well, what happens if a person does a mitzvah, but he does it without kavanah, without a kavanah? So the Ben Ish Chai tells us that a physical malach without a neshama is a dead angel. And then he provides us with a blockbuster chidush that's based on the Gemara of Cholin. The Gemara says the following, ladies. Yisrael kedoshim hem. The Jewish people are holy people. And what makes the Jewish people holy? Yesh sherotze ve'en lo. There are some Jews out there that they want to give tzedakah, but they simply don't have what to give. And then the Gemara says, but look at how holy they are, because they want to give. The entire motivation is what? What drives them? They want to give even though they know they don't have the means. Yesh sherotze ve'en lo. The Gemara says, mamash kadosh, that's a holy person. But then the Gemara says, wait, we have other holy people too. Ve'yesh sheyesh lo ve'eino rotze. There are people who have the means, but they don't want to give. And then it ends, Yisrael kedoshim. All of Klal Yisrael are holy people. Wait a second here. It seems to me that one person is kadosh, the other person should be tameh. He's a kamtan bar kamtan. Why is he considered holy? He has and he doesn't want to give. The first person is unbelievable. Rotzeh, he wants, but en lo. He walks around all day long wishing he could give money to Ohel Sarah or to some other worthy cause. He wishes he had the zechut. What a special person he is. According to the Gemara, he's kadosh. But I'm wondering about the other guy. The other guy, the Gemara says, yesh lo ve'eno rotzeh. He has the means, but he just doesn't want to give. And by the way, the Tosafot asks this question. Im lo rotzeh ve'yesh lo, lama hu kadosh? If he has the means, but he doesn't want to give, why is he considered kadosh? And the Tosafot answers, because even though he doesn't want to give, he gives regardless. He gives mechamat habusha. He gives because he's embarrassed not to give. So at the end of the day, he too ends up writing a check to Ohel Sarah. Kol hakavod to him. He writes a check, and deep down, ve'eno rotzeh, he doesn't really want to give, but he ends up giving. So Rav Zusha asks a question on this Tosafot. Rav Zusha asks, why is that guy kadosh if he really doesn't want to give, but he gives anyway? He's not kadosh. A guy who gives, but he's under pressure, should be considered a kadosh? Why don't we call him a rasha? And Rav Zusha answers the following. Ladies, get ready for this one. It's a musar of life. HaKadosh Baruch Hu is a shadchan. He's the matchmaker. Part of the shadchanut of Hashem is that he makes matches. What kind of matches? Many kinds. He puts a man and a woman together. I don't decide when, Hashem decides, not me. He makes the shidduch of a man and the house that he's going to live in. Hashem brings business partners together. Hashem puts a teacher and a student together. All day long, HaKadosh Baruch Hu is making shidduchim and bringing people together. But there's a part of the shadchanut, of the matchmaking of Hashem, that people are not aware of. You see, that person who gave the tzedakah, he did an action, right? But what was he lacking? He was lacking the kavanah. His kavanah is dreadful, like we say in Israel, ala panim, horrible. The other person, the kadosh, we said he has all the kavanah in the world. He wants to give, but he doesn't have the ability to fulfill the action. So what does the Ribono Shel Olam do? This incredible shadchan. He takes the kavanah, the intent of the one she'en lo verotze, the one who wants to give but he doesn't have. He takes his kavanah and he attaches it, he makes the shidduch to the person who yesh lo, who has, ve'eno rotze, and he doesn't want to give. And he puts those two together. So now you have Yisrael Kedoshim Hem, which means that combined actions and thoughts create a holy union. Because each one of us alone, we're lacking. We're lacking individually. But when Klal Yisrael is together, when Hashem puts us together for some cause, we become Kedoshim. That's how God creates for us a complete malach from the both of us, so to speak. From the fact that I want to give and I don't have, but my thoughts are present, and from the actions of the other one who can give but his thoughts are not present, Hashem puts us together. And then there's a complete malach that's created from the both of us. Can you imagine this? Now I don't know whose malach it belongs to, if it belongs to me, to you. I assume that it's a shared malach. But the point is that HaKadosh Baruch Hu brings ma'asim and the machashavot, and he puts them together to make a perfect specimen, to make the perfect and complete angel that will defend us and guard us. Actually, the Gemara says, Machashava tova HaKadosh Baruch Hu metzarefa lema'aseh. A positive intent is considered as if you did the ma'aseh. But the question is, why does the Gemara use the word metzarfa? What does the word tseruf mean? Tseruf means to connect. You see what's going on here? So Rav Zusha says that machshava tova means that sometimes HaKadosh Baruch Hu takes the intention of the person who genuinely intended to do something, but he didn't have the ability to do it, and he's metzaref, he connects it to someone else's ma'aseh who's lacking the intent, the machshava, and that creates a complete package. Incredible things we're learning here, ladies. The holy Noam Elimelech of Lezinsk, alav shalom, adds to this chidush. And he said that the Gemara also says, Le'olam ya'asok adam betorah ubemitzvot shelo lishma, shemitoch shelo lishma ba lishma. What is the Gemara teaching us? What does this mean? When you serve God, when you're young, you generally serve Him shelo lishma. You're serving Hashem even for the wrong reasons when you're younger. For example, we tell our children to go to shul, and if they do, we're going to give them a treat. So the child is really going to shul for the lollipops, for the prizes. That's shelo lishma. That's not for the sake of heaven. And that's all right in the beginning. Why? Because we hope that eventually he will go to shul l'shem shamayim. We train our son to attend shul in that way, and we hope that by the time he's 50, right, he's not going to want the lollipop anymore, although we always have those out there in the world. that's 50 and still in their parents' houses, 50 and still asking for the ice cream and the lollipops. But the point is that we hope that when he's older, he's going to want to daven l'shem shamayim. But you still have to train the child from when he's young. There are times in life where you have to push yourself to do something you don't necessarily want to do. You have to push yourself to do something you don't necessarily feel ready to do. And eventually, you will graduate from that youthful way of thinking to a place of doing things lishma. It's going to push you to understand why you had to do what you did when you were forcing yourself to. And only you benefit from that. That's the simple explanation. But of course, the Noam Elimelech asks, what does it mean when the Gemara says, mitoch shelo lishma, ba lishma? Sounds like the lishma is coming somewhere. The lishma comes, ba lishma. The Gemara should have phrased it this way, shemitoch shelo lishma, ya'aseh lishma. Eventually he'll do the mitzvah lishma. Why the phraseology of ba lishma? It sounds like the lishma is coming somewhere. Ba lishma. For that answer, ladies, tune in next week, Be'ezrat Hashem. I'm going to end here to learn the great and deep lessons of all the Chachamim as we march on to Chodesh Adar with tremendous vigor and enthusiasm, and Be'ezrat Hashem learn and receive all the hashpa'ot hatovot that HaKadosh Baruch Hu has for us for this coming month of Yeshuot and Nisim and Bracha and Atzlacha. Have a wonderful week, Shavua Tov, and a wonderful Shabbat, and we'll meet again, Be'ezrat Hashem, next week.